Every founder that I meet with tells me some version of the same story. They built their business on drive, hard work, and the ability to make things happen when nobody else would. That grit is the reason that they've survived all those tough early years. Here's the problem. What once kept them alive is now the very thing that's keeping them stuck. Because if everything still depends on you, you don't own a business. You got a treadmill. And the faster it runs, the harder it is to get off. That's not leadership, my friends, that's captivity. And the shift that changes everything is this: moving from accountability that runs through the founder to accountability that lives inside the team. Let's call it independent accountability, where your people don't just wait for marching orders. They carry the vision forward as if it was their very own. Now, independent accountability is not about being tougher on your team. It's about equipping them to own outcomes instead of completing assignments. Now, most leaders think that accountability means checking in, double verifying, or just riding people until the work gets done. That's babysitting, not leading. Real accountability is when the expectation is so clear and the trust is so strong that your team holds themselves to the standard. I want you to think about a time you had someone on your team who took ownership of a project like it was their own. You didn't have to remind them or chase them. They were proactive, they were creative, even resourceful. And that's the power of independent accountability. Now, imagine that multiplied across your entire organization. Suddenly, growth doesn't feel like pressure on your shoulders. It feels like momentum coming from every single corner of the company. So how do you get there? First, you stop making yourself the bottleneck for every single decision. The more you position yourself as the only one who can sign off on stuff, the more you train your people not to think. Independent accountability begins when you start transferring trust. So give your team clear outcomes, not endless instructions, and show them the destination and then let them design the path. Second, make responsibility visible. When goals and metrics and timelines are transparent, your team can't hide in the shadows because ownership grows when expectations are shared, not whispered. Public goals always create private drive. Third and finally, you model it. If you say accountability matters, then you gotta live it, your very self. Follow through on your word. Admit when you've dropped the ball. Own your role in the wins and in the losses, because accountability always starts at the top, and your team won't carry what you refuse to demonstrate. The thing is, most founders don't suffer from lazy teams. They suffer from teams who were never given real ownership. Because people rise when they feel trusted, when they know that their contribution matters, when they're invited to step into leadership themselves. And when they rise, you finally get to step into the role that you were meant for. And no, it's not chief babysitter. You get to be a true leader. Independent accountability creates businesses that breathe. It takes the weight off of your chest and it distributes it across the shoulders of people who are capable, willing, and ready. And it turns your team from task doers into torchbearers. So here's the question I'll leave with you. If your team walked in tomorrow and started leading themselves, would the business survive without you? If the answer is no, you don't have a team problem. You have a leadership opportunity. Go build a culture of independent accountability, and you're going to stop running on that treadmill. You're going to start leading a movement, and that's the kind of leadership that truly lasts.